of the Triumph races, Jack Sim pulls up on pole position. Jack, who, well, he needs a few decent results, but he is in with a shout of the TGG Cup this year. Alongside him, Tom Fisher, Lance Carey, and Tim Venables there on the outside of that front row. Red lights are on. Up they go, and away go the Triumphs. Absolutely herring down towards Riches. This long right-hander. Great penalty to be taken the first lap, as always, but a very inviting runoff to the left. There's usually a decent crop in there, so they can have a snack if they go off to the left. The short, sharp burst up the straight into Sear. That's another long right-hander. Very critical indeed, because the exit speed is vital. You go down one of the longest straights in British racing. Hard on the anchors, under the bridge there, and into the S's. Another of the great action areas at Snet. Then round the infamous bomb hole. There we are, that little dip there, out onto the long, long right-hander of Coram. And then it's anchors time as you come into Russell chicane. And this really is, it's not exactly a flip-flop chicane, it's an extended flip-flop chicane. Really have to be careful there, particularly getting on the power at the exit. And as they scream across the line for the first time of asking, see Tim Venables there. Into Riches. Tim, you'll always be able to recognise him, the bright yellow crash hat. But not leading at the moment. The long chase as they run down Revitt Straight. Tim Venables is leading the pack, but up the front it is Jack Sim. There we see them all into the S's. Jack, whose wife gave birth to their first child up at, well, I say up at Oulton Park. It wasn't actually at the circuit, but just before the Oulton Park weekend, and Jack was given a pass and allowed to go up and race there. We would obviously wish his family well. There in the middle of there, we see Ralph Laturco. Ralph with the bright yellow and blue leathers. Easy to pick out. And he's making good progress. He started at the back of the grid after qualifying problems. And there we see Josh Wainwright as well. He also started from the back. So the two of them are hard at work, working their way through the midfield up into Sear once more. But Jack Sim, he's got away a little at the front. Remember, these bikes are all exactly the same model. And very little you can do in terms of preparation. In fact, there's nothing you can do that somebody else can't do. So it is a fantastic series in terms of a level playing field. Once you get a break, though, it just makes it that much harder for the pursuing riders to catch. And Jack Sim well away at the moment. Around Coram they go. There, Ralph Laturco working hard just ahead of Scott Rowbottom. Scotty has won a number of races this year, but at the moment he's embroiled in the traffic jam as they come through Russell's and up the front. Jack Sim loving this. Jack's a pretty tall rider. You see that when he sticks the old knee out there, so he's come out miles. But still, it's Tim Venables, second of the riders there, but first of the Michelin Youngs at the moment. But there we see Paul Hughes. Spent the early part of the season at the rear of the grid, but he's getting better and better as the season goes on and finishing further and further up the order. But down the front, it is Jack Sims. Look at that healthy gap back to Tim Venables. Well, Tim being pursued there by Tom Fisher. This is a good ride for Tom as well. Again, towards the latter part of the season, we're getting used to seeing him up in the top six, and he's in a good third at the moment. And looking at the lap times, sometimes you could look at that and be forgiven for thinking that maybe Tim Venables was holding him up, but in fact he's not. The lap times are all pretty much the same in that little group. Just shows you what a good little breakaway Jack Sim's made at the front. Mark Pringle is in third there, but Jack Sim, sorry, when I say in third, I mean third in that chasing group. There's Jack Sim up the front, and reigning champion of TTG Cup, there's Ricky Chadwick. Ricky, whose season has never really caught fire since he picked up an injury, not in a Triumph race, but picked up an injury fairly early on in the season. And there, Tom Fisher has just nicked ahead of Tim Venables. So we'll see what Tom can do about this now, whether or not he can stretch it away from the group. There we see Ralph Turco head down and charging hard. Looks like Lance Carey right up with him as well. And good progress also being made in that, well, towards the rear of that group then. Josh Wainwright, he just goes through. In fact, he's up ahead now of Ralph Turco and absolutely flying, and his lap times are getting better and better. And there we see Ben Cater coming off the back of his best result of the year, a win at Alton Park last time out. Around here they go, down onto the Revit Straight, and here, coming off the Revit Straight, Jack Sim, and look at this. Tom Fisher having got ahead of that little group, and Mark Cheetham has also got up ahead of Tim Venables. So we'll see whether Tom, now look, he has a bit of a gap on the rest, so he will potentially be able to catch Jack Sim. There's Scott Rowbottom. Just, well, he's going to run around the outside. He did that very well indeed. Ran around the outside there into Russell Chicane, picked up the place. Tim Venables nearly getting off, but he rescues that. Look at Josh Wainwright, number 55, right round the outside of that little group there, and he'll be hammering up the centre straight here, the start-finish straight at Snet. And there, well, we see that, in fact, Josh didn't actually manage to get past Tim Venables then, so Tim... big almost off, big save, and just about hanging on ahead of Josh Wainwright there. Meanwhile, Jack Sim up the front, just getting past one of the tail enders there, Paul Marks, I think, and now, well, Tom Fisher has the same problem. He has to get past, and Mark Cheetham, and there's Tim Venables leading the pack still. Tim in fourth place. There he is, and he's got Scott Rowbottom there. Josh Wainwright right up behind him. Josh, well, is he left or right into the Russell chicane? Oh, and down goes Scott Rowbottom. Oh, Scotty be furious with that. Just turning in the middle of that chicane, dumps it. He's all right, but he'll be miffed with himself as Jack Sim powers out towards Sear once again. Again, work his way through a bit of the traffic, and look at this behind, closing up slightly. Mark Cheetham definitely has got his hooks into Tom Fisher. Tom will want to hang on there, but Mark Cheetham is absolutely flying. Mark, in fact, goes past. Now, remember, Mark Cheetham is in the TDG Cup, as is Jack Sim, so Jack is his target. Mark Cheetham coming into this weekend, leading the points in the TDG Cup. And there, Josh Wainwright putting all sorts of pressure on Tim Venables as they run down towards Russell. Josh second in the points for the Michelin Young Guns, but, well, with just Snetterton and the last rounds at Silverstone to go, the most important thing for Josh is he's ahead at the moment of Mark Kringle, who currently leads those points. There's not a lot in it in either the TGG Cup or the Michelin Young Guns at the moment. And Jack Sim had that brilliant lead at the start. It's gradually being chipped away at, but as I think they're going to run out of race, quite frankly, to catch him. Mark Cheetham putting in a bit of a flyer over the last lap, but Jack is looking very good down through the bomb hole once again. See that wicked little dip there that chucks him out onto the long right-hander at Coram. Yeah, Jack should be able to hang on to this as long as he makes no mistakes. There we are, sticking out the long legs again. And down into Russell. Jack Sim from Mark Cheetham. Tom Fisher still in a good third, leading Michelin Young Gun, and Jack loves that. Checker flag and the win to Jack Sim. We'll take every bit of that. Mark Cheetham finishing second. Tom Fisher picking up third and leading Michelin Young Gun. Tim Venables fourth, Josh Wainwright fifth eventually, but ahead of Mark Kringle.